Morning, Raptor Freak. It's Sunday, so it's time for a special Sunday report. And this week we're looking at the end of the NBA season that just ended. Golden State Warriors are the champions, and we're just kind of doing a year in review of the league and how the league was run this year. Like, how were the rules? How was the whole entertainment product of the NBA? Was it like worth going to buy tickets to go to see the games? Was it worth watching? How entertaining were the finals? How were the playoffs? Good morning, Tom Duke. Good to see you. Happy Father's Day. He's got a wizard. He's got a basketball player. He's got a tumbler. And he's got a couple of people hanging out. Good to see. So, yeah, if you guys have any opinions on the NBA, the state of the NBA, as far as anything about it, and you want to express that opinion, let's talk about it today. How they can improve the NBA, maybe what they did right, maybe what they're not doing so right, all that kind of stuff. Tom Duke saying, my 2022 head shaker, Minnesota's exuberant celebration of winning the play-in game where the lady protester glued herself to the floor. Pat B made certain he got his 15 minutes of fame. Love the passion of the players. Listen, I am not against Minnesota going crazy when they won that play-in game. That they've not had a whole lot to celebrate in their history of their franchise. So let's not hate on them for having a good time winning a play-in. That is a small victory, and as JJ Redick said, that is a huge thing considering it's like not a whole lot to celebrate in Minnesota over the years. So I'll say that about themselves. That and then about the protester, I think that what they did was fine. I think it's good because the owner of the Minnesota Timberwolves owns a huge food processing company, and that they're slaughtering a lot of chickens, a lot of animals for this company, and that this person's a PETA person that did this protest, and that they felt really strongly about it. And that's why they went out there and did that. So I totally like their right to do that. I know it disrupts the game and people get annoyed and stuff like that, but it does shed attention on subjects and makes people aware of things that maybe they weren't aware of, like what the Minnesota Timberwolves owner, his business is all about, stuff like that. So good morning, Alistair. Good to see you. Not hating at all. Should not have said head shaker. It's all right, Tom. You could even hate that if you wanted to. It's not a big deal. A lot of people did have a big problem with it because it's anti-status quo. It's like shaking things up in the game and stuff like that. So Tom Duke saying Pat B is not my favorite. Probably would like him if he was a Raptor. Yeah, I like him even though he's not a Raptor. I like that he gets under people's skin. He's pretty annoying. I like the fact that this season he showed a lot of respect towards the Raptors team at different times. More respect than LeBron James did. So kudos to Pat Bev and another great season for him, a successful season in some ways, a very interesting season where he got to talk a lot on ESPN and get his opinions out there and stuff like that. It's pretty cool. Alistair's saying the draft has like 7'6'8" lockdown defenders with long wingspans, and half of them are in the second round. Dalen Terry is 33rd in the mock draft. If he slips to us, we are getting a first round pick. Interesting. So this guy, Dalen Terry, if he falls through the cracks and is in the second round, Alistair's saying he's very confident in drafting a 6'8" long-armed monster to join our army of long-arm monsters already, and that this guy would be first-round value in the second round. Wow. I'm going to be looking out for that name, Alistair, and seeing if they get him before we get to him. But once again, trust in Messiah and Bobby. We're going to see what happens. We're going to see what happens no matter what. So I've got kind of different topics about the NBA season that we could kind of talk about and just touch on and stuff like that. Like one of the big issues this season, we talked about it a couple of Sundays ago, is the injuries. Is that there's been way too many games missed to injury, whether it's due to COVID protocol, whether it's due to just resting games like load management, or whether it's like a lot of more injuries in the league. And Nick Nurse has a theory about this, that he thinks that the NBA should go back to having a hand checking rule. That one of the things that's happening, the reasons why these guys are getting hurt, is that they're going full steam into the lane, and they're not, if they were hand checked and maybe slowed down a little bit by the defender, they wouldn't go full steam in the lane and get hit by the guy underneath the basket and have so many serious injuries. that in the old NBA, there was a little bit of a hit you on the way in to slow you down before you come in full speed and then get hit. And that's where the danger is. That's what he's saying from his eyes, his astute eyes as a student of the game and also a teacher of the game. That's what Nick Nurse is seeing. So that's a very interesting idea. It could be a very good thing for the Raptors team, and specifically if they do bring back the hand check rule. And then we'll also see like the difference between today's NBA and the old NBA, because it'll be more like the old NBA. And you'll see how much harder it is for some offensive players to score with a hand check being back. I support Nick Nurse on this. I think that if he's astute and understands the game enough and can see that could be an area to help things, then maybe the NBA should look at bringing back the hand check. So very interesting theory he has about it. Now, a lot of talk is also about how long the NBA season is. Is the season too long? 82 games, is it too long? Is that part of the reason why the injuries are happening? Is it because it's too much of a grind? It's too long, too many preseason, too many regular season, too much on the postseason also. And Adam Silver is open to changing this about the NBA, like shortening the season, but he's going to be very, very careful about that. Now, the players don't necessarily want a shortened season. Some may want it, but it seems like they don't, because player representative CJ McCollum has been on an interview saying that they kind of like the continuity between the history of the NBA, and that most seasons in the NBA have had 82 games, and that statistically you can look at stats and different things about seasons more comparatively when they play the same amount of games. That if you do take away some games from the NBA season, that'll make it a little weird. It'll feel off, honestly. That's how I feel. Like even in the shortened seasons because of the pandemic or the lockout in 99, those seasons were weird. That one season when the Spurs won in a really short season and there weren't hardly any games in the season. It was like a 30 game season. It was crazy. Let's see. Tom Duke saying less games in the season can't be the answer. Looney plays a physical game, and I believe he just broke the record for most games played in a season. Even says he is ready to keep playing still. See, there's a great example. Kevon Looney had a very healthy year. He was very strong, and like Tom said, he's down there fighting in the trenches for Golden State, and he was able to weather the storm and do that kind of stuff. It could be a combination of all kinds of different things intersecting that are making the injuries and the games missed happen too much for players. But this is definitely an issue and a problem in the NBA, that they need to try and figure out how to save and protect their players and have them available to play most games. That there's too many guys missing games in this past season. Yeah. CC saying, I would like to see games more spread out, no back-to-backs. I think that's actually a really good idea. Instead of shortening the season, maybe spread them out a little bit more. Maybe start the season a little earlier and none of these back-to-backs. Like maybe that is something that could save people from getting hurt. The grind may be too bad because they don't have enough recoup time between back-to-back games, and that could be doing damage to bodies, and we didn't even realize it. Tom's saying CC makes sense. Yeah, I agree with this because they have actually talked about this, and that this could be the way they do it, is that they just spread it out or something like that. CC saying some nights there's like 3 NBA games on. Yeah, I mean, there's Tuesdays or certain days during the week, there won't be many games. I know Thursday they have less games on purpose because they really want people to watch the ESPN ABC games on Thursday night or TNT or whichever network's on that night, stuff like that. So another thing that's interesting that may happen with the NBA is they did the experiment on the G League level of the mid-season tournament where they had like a season split in half. They had a beginning part where it kind of led up to getting a seeding in a tournament, and there was a cash prize for the tournament, and then they had a regular season after the tournament for the G League. And that was a very interesting concept, an interesting thing they did. Now, they were trying it out on the G League level because they think they might do it on the NBA level. level. Trust me, they might do this because that's part of the reason why they were doing it on the G League. Now, that would really throw things in a weird mix. Now, would that mean that we have two all-star breaks, that there will be an early break for the mid-season tournament and for cash, and then there'll be an all-star break also? I don't know. It seems like this NBA season may end up being 9 to 10 months in the end. It's crazy. Tom saying, hey, CC, perhaps games should be on every day of the week instead of days off for the NBA. Yeah. I mean, listen, every other day, if they can get that beat right, and some days you get 2 days off to get on another beat with other teams that are playing on the alternate day and stuff like that. I think it's a good idea to limit the back to backs. And that even the Raptors at some points this season had to play 3 games in 3 days, which is absolutely insane. It's absolutely crazy. Yeah. I'm glad you guys are finding some agreement on this. So once again, let's assess something that the NBA added a couple years ago and see if we feel like it was good or not. The play-in tournament. How do you guys feel about the play-in tournament? I personally myself feel like it's been a huge success. That in some ways that is a huge success by the NBA because it has limited tanking at the end of the season. That part of the problem with the end of the NBA season is the last month would be kind of dead wood for the games because a lot of the playoff races would be already figured out, that we would already see kind of who's going to be where, and they've already solidified their position. Well, this season, we saw an unprecedented craziness right at the end of the season where we didn't know where all kinds of places where people were going to finish up. And that right up to the very end of the season, games mattered for seeding for the playoffs, that whether they mattered for like in the Eastern Conference between Milwaukee and Boston and Philadelphia, that really mattered what happened near the end of the season for those 3 teams and where they ended up, or it mattered for teams that were just trying to make the play-in or get out of the play-in. It made the season exciting right up until the end of the season, which is really good. And that also discourages any kind of Philadelphia process going on. That, listen, that you may be able to compete and get in the play-in and make some noise in the playoffs. You may not want to tank. You may not want to lose games on purpose because you may be able to build off of something like what Minnesota did, getting a play-in victory and getting into a playoff seed, stuff like that. That is a small victory, but this is good because it gives teams that are lower in the standings more to aim for and try and achieve the play-in tournament. So me personally, I think the play-in's been a huge success. I know some people think it's weird and it's what is it anyway, but I think it has done a good job of limiting teams from tanking at the end of the season because that is really the main reason why they did it, honestly, if you ask me. So yeah, play-in, good job, Adam Silver. That is a huge success in the last couple of years since you've added it and implemented it and stuff like that. So, all right, let's keep going. Let's talk about the refs. How do you guys feel like the refs were doing this year? Honestly, it was up and down for me. Obviously, there's times when we really see the ref manipulation. We see referees like Ed Malloy and Zach Zarba, Scott Foster putting a little bit too much of an imprint on the game near the end of the game with the referees' calls. It's always a good standard for the refs to not be involved in making any huge decisions about who's going to win the game with their calls, and that they need to let the players play and win it that way and stuff like that. So they have a real issue with being on the level, like looking like they're being fair and doing everything equally for everybody, because it doesn't look like that sometimes. And this Donaghy Netflix thing that's coming out is going to be a real scandal again. If they let it come out, I'm going to see whether the NBA actually allows Netflix to release this, because I could see them stopping it legally from coming out, because it could shake up the credibility of the NBA all over again, just like Donaghy did in the beginning. Because we do know Netflix has a real power with its like channel and like getting information out by something like Blackfish, different other documentaries in the past that have come out on that have had impacts on the world in real ways. So that'll be interesting to see and stuff like that. So let's see. Tom Duke saying COVID scheduling has played a factor. Yeah, that really messed up. That was why we had to play 3 games in a row in 3 days. It's because of the COVID postponements earlier in the season. Tom Duke saying would have been a big deal if we went further in the playoffs, border issues. Border issues were interesting this year. They were an issue for the Raptors team, but they not really for us in a negative way, but for other teams. And this was something that I predicted at the beginning of the season, that the border issues with vaccine status and stuff like that would cause issues. And it did finally at the end of the season with Matisse Thybulle. And it did on the download during the season. There were teams that did not send their full complement of players to Toronto on purpose, even though they were healthy, just to avoid any kind of snafus with the border and COVID testing and stuff like that. That was very interesting. Saying refs were mostly down, in my opinion. Okay, so you think that they weren't that good this year in some ways? Yeah, I could see that in some ways, but they really are trying and striving to give it a whole appearance of fairness. It seems like it, G, and that's good. They need to do this because it really should seem like they're on the up and up in all kinds of different ways. And Scott Foster is like the lightning rod for this. Like the, he has a weird records with different things. Tom Duke saying Tony Brothers was ready to throw down the Celtics after falling for a few flops in the last couple games. Tony Brothers is a feisty guy, and honestly I respect him a lot. He could be a problematic ref, but in some ways he can be a problem for the other team just as much as for yours. It's not necessarily that he has favorites. It's just he will be himself and he'll make it known. G saying flopping has gone up and players whom aren't known for it started now. So maybe that's why the refs seem worse than usual for me. That's an interesting thing. Yeah, that is true. It seems like there's a lot more people flopping this year, a lot of that kind of stuff. That's not necessarily good for the game. And this may be something that they need to try and figure out with the rules and trying to stop. Like if they did some rules with the whole thing with the initiating contact to get an offensive foul with Harden and Trae Young this past season, they should be able to do something about the unnecessary flopping or the overacting and stuff like that. Because there's been a lot of that this year. And some of the players are just really honing that craft and overusing it at this point. Tom Duke saying players getting rattled and the refs taking over games is an issue in most sports. Yeah. Yeah, I just think I don't want the refs to be the ones who decide who wins. We want to see the game decided by who makes and misses their shots, not by a ref bailout call where a player gets to go to the line when the other team may not be getting bailout calls and getting to go to the line at crunch time themselves. We have seen this in the history of the Raptors that we will have a good player like Kyle Lowry in the lane and they will get fouled by Paul Pierce and they will swallow their whistle when they should possibly call it. Meanwhile, in late in games, they will give whistles to some players late in the game when usually they swallow it for most of the game, stuff like that. Rank Scrub saying Marcus Smart has to be the leader for the Celtics, but he had no class and doesn't really understand how to lead in the first place. Rank Scrub coming in and making a good diss on the Defensive Player of the Year. Yeah, I mean, he is a leader for them. He's a weird leader. He's a good leader in some ways, but in some ways he isn't. You're exactly right. I don't know. They've got a weird nucleus in Boston and stuff like that. They're still young. We'll see what happens after this failure in the finals, how they bounce back, whether they're going to be just as I'll bet they'll be just as hungry. But who knows? Who knows how they'll be next year? Alistair saying paid refs in boxing are the worst. Wow. Wow. At least that's something we don't have to hopefully deal with is paid off refs in boxing. Holy crap. Tom Duke saying, I guess someone's got to run the playground. I still like the idea of the refs having to be available for post-game interviews. Accountability. That's hilarious. Well, we don't want to do that necessarily because, once again, a good ref is a ref we don't know their name or we just don't know who they are. That's how it should be in any sport. You don't want to know the referees' names. And if we're going to bring them to the interviews after the game, we're all going to learn their names and stuff like that. And that may not be necessarily a good thing. So another thing with the refs and stuff. So the refs are kind of iffy. I'd say 50-50 because at the beginning of the season when they weren't calling anything and there were a lot of fouls, it was very physical. That was kind of good. I kind of liked the way they were calling it then, but it wasn't consistent throughout the whole year. That whole let it go, play a little looser, street ball kind of thing that happened at the beginning of the season, it went away at certain points. Like the refs came in and said, yeah, we're going to be a little more heavy-handed all of a sudden. And that's too bad. That there couldn't be any kind of consistency. That's really the word that we want from the refereeing in the NBA. Just consistency. If you're going to call these kind of fouls at one end, you better be doing it at the other end. And also, if you're going to not call fouls for part of the game and let them just play, do it for most of the game. Don't just all of a sudden put the clamps on in the middle of the game. And this is how we're playing all of a sudden, where you can't play with that kind of physicality. Because when you do red light, green light like that with the players and their physicality, that could also be how they get hurt in some ways. Is they're holding back or they're not, they're trying all out different times and stuff like that. All right, I want to talk about one thing in particular that the NBA really needs to fix, and that this is a huge problem for their product. This is one of the reasons why people fell in love with the NBA in the 80s, is the fast break. Is Showtime Lakers a big reason why it was so fun and popular to watch? Is that up tempo game, getting down the court, the fast break dunks, the passing, and that was just a fun part of it. Well, that's being robbed from us in today's NBA. And it's because of this weird trend of fouling somebody when they're first about to get on the break. There's a lot of that. There's a lot of like, sometimes there's whistles by the refs that slow down the break all of a sudden for some reason. We need to encourage the players to be able to get out on the floor and run and do these fast breaks, because this is something the NBA has always had as a bread and butter for excitement. And that this year we were robbed of more than half of our chances to see these kind of exciting plays. In fact, I was really annoyed this year because I feel like the Raptors could have had so many cool plays in fast break and in transition, but they were held back because of people fouling and open, clear path fouls, different things like that. There's not enough to dissuade teams from stopping fast breaks in that way still. There need to be maybe even more of a penalty. The clear path foul is a good idea, but it's not getting called enough. And then there's, just other things that are screwing up fast break opportunities. I don't like it. And the NBA should investigate and study ways to allow more encouragement of transition basketball and high pace basketball like the Lakers used to play. And that I miss that about the NBA. Get back to it somehow, some way. Let's see. Rank Scrub saying that came from the highest levels to allow Harden and other touch foul scorers to recover their scoring numbers. Okay, so you're trying to say that because they changed the rules about him kicking out or his leg kicking out or getting the contact for offensive fouls, they made up for it by trying to give more foul shots, fruit fouls and stuff like that. That's an interesting theory. And maybe with Embiid, because he got to the line a lot. So Harden did get to the line a lot this year also. So maybe that's right. Jimmy Pope said, if the refs were consistent, I definitely think we would have beaten the Sixers. Wow. Wow. That's a lot I would have, could have, should have. But I think you might be right. Like, I can get behind that as a Raptor fan. There was an inconsistency at different times in that series, but a lot of it was just letting the Sixers play with a physicality that we weren't allowed to play with. Joel Embiid was given a card to just hit out and do whatever he wants and not get any trouble. Meanwhile, we were getting called for a lot of physicalness that Philly wasn't. And that's what Jimmy's talking about. Tom Duke saying, can't imagine being on defense and watching one of our long arm monster lineups coming at me, led by Precious or Scotty Roy. Yikes. Uh-oh. Yeah, that's got to be daunting and scary for another team to have so many tall guys on the other team, especially if you're a little guard on another team. Who are you going to guard? If you're guarding OG, you're going to get bully balled. That's what's going to happen. G saying Embiid and Harden were top 2 in the league for free throw shots. Yeah, that seems like they were funneling them. I don't want to get too conspiracy theory, but this season was supposed to be a good season for Philadelphia, partly because they filmed this hustle movie. That if the NBA machine, PR machine, they want the Sixers to be good because of this movie that just came out with Adam Sandler. That they knew they were making this movie this whole season. And that's part of the reason why they maybe were touting them as golden boys in the media, pushing the Sixers more this season as being a top team in the league, pushing the mystique of Embiid and stuff like that, is because it's kind of a media tie-in with this movie on Netflix. That they can't have Philly look like a dumpster fire or not look like a contender to get the more publicity and more tie-in with the release of Hustle. That they want to capitalize on any interest from Hustle and bring it into the NBA. Stuff like that. It's very interesting. So yeah, just a little bit about getting back to fast break basketball. Figure out a way, Adam Silver. Maybe you adjust the rules like you did with the offensive fouls this last offseason, and you make it allow it to open up and allow for more flow back and forth. Also, part of it is the refs call too many whistles and stop the pulse of the game, the pace of the game. by just stopping with whistles all the time. There's too many stoppages of play that the players can't get a rhythm going. They can't get a pace up and down the court going right because the whistle stops the game too often. That's part of the phenomenon also. Let's see. Jimmy's saying it's just weird seeing other series being called differently, and it's frustrating. Yeah, for sure. For sure. You can see different ways different teams get treated. Maybe different games are a little bit more even in different ways and stuff like that. Well, we just got to go forward and see how it comes towards us in the future. Hopefully, the referees will give some of our guys a little more favor with respect. Like Pascal should be getting more superstar calls next season. I think that they already started a little bit at the end of the season, starting giving Scotty more calls because he was rookie of the year or looking like he was about to be rookie of the year. So hopefully these guys in particular, these two guys get a lot more respect next season and they get sent to the line more and get more calls in their favor because these are award-winning NBA players and that's how they treat them normally. If you're a rookie of the year, you get a little bit of a golden boy treatment. So we should expect Scotty to get some golden boy treatment next year. And I want to see Pascal finally get his due. This man should be getting calls like Jason Tatum does. That he should be going to the line like Jason Tatum because there ain't much different than what he's doing and what he's doing as far as offensively and attacking the basket. Tom Duke saying conspiracy NBA narrative came to fruition with Golden State winning. Wonder why they were chosen by the NBA over the Celtics. I don't know, Tom. I think that honestly, all right, this is something I should talk about. Is the league fair? Is there an invisible hand guiding things? Well, I don't think there is, Tom. Because if you think about the parity in the league this year, it is wide open. In fact, I'm really happy with the parity in the NBA at this point. That there was a whole section of the 2010s where it was like just kind of you could pencil in who you think's going to be the champion. It was like LeBron and the Cavs or the Miami Heat, or it was Golden State. And you just every year was too predictable. Like the year we won the championship, I was like, Golden State's just going to win. They got DeMarcus Cousins, they got all Durant, they got all these guys that are going to win. And I was very pleasantly surprised to see how the whole season came out. Now, the NBA really wanted to control who was going to win the championship. Boston would have won. I'm going to tell you that right now because their money would have went out the roof. If they could have controlled it and helped Boston win, they would have done that, Tom. So I disagree with this. I don't think they wanted Golden State to win. That they would have preferred Boston to win because that fan base would have spent a whole bunch of money and that would have been big, big bucks for Boston. Now, Golden State, they win another one, they'll get some revenue and good stuff from that. But Boston would have been gangbusters as far as things financially and economically, all the championship Boston stuff that would have been sold all over the place. So I don't agree with this. I don't think there was a conspiracy theory. And I like that the NBA is more and more parity. That it's like in this playoff, we had no idea Golden State was going to win right at the beginning. Like, really seriously, if we looked at the whole field who was involved in the playoffs, there was a lot of other teams that we could have said this probably has a better chance of winning, like Phoenix or like Boston or Miami or different teams had just as much a chance as Golden State, and I like that. That's more like the NFL. The NFL has good parity. You don't know every year who could win that NFL Super Bowl. And that's important is that if it's too much of a juggernaut, there's one team that just dominates the whole league, that's bad for the league. And then getting back to your point also about conspiracy about that, if they were really manipulating things, the Lakers would have been way better this year. The Nets, this is who they want. Like this is their media machine pushing them, but they failed. They both failed bad. And, that shows also that they're limited in how much they can control. And in some ways that's good because it protects the sanctity of the game being fair. That like this may not be what the NBA wanted, that Golden State won this one. Seriously. G saying OG gets the most disrespected for calls on the team. He gets elbowed in the face, pushed, etc. No calls. Yeah. This is another person I'd like to see get more respect in that way. But in some ways, he's not being loud enough. Maybe he's not flopping enough. Maybe he's not going whoa enough or making enough noise. And that would get him more calls and stuff like that. Because sometimes I feel like that's part of it. It's like when Pascal yells, that may get more attention and more favor. Meanwhile, OG is very mute on the court. He's not drawing any attention to how much he's getting nailed by other teams. Maybe he needs to do something different to get more attention. Then he'll get some calls. Maybe it's just him moving a certain way, and then we're like, whoa, he just hit him, and he put him on the line, something like that. Rank Scrub saying game management has been underway for a while now. It's why we didn't have to have Pascal as an all-star, because we knew we could get all-pro 15 end of the all NBA 15 end of the season, and Lee can push LaMelo stardom. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, listen, we got slighted when Pascal wasn't on the All Star team, when LaMelo got on there instead. But Pascal got All NBA, and that made up for it in the end in some ways. I do like that. And yeah, we've got to do this load management. It's just a part of the game at this point, that people are doing things to think, but the league doesn't like this because people pay tickets and they want to see Steph Curry play with the Warriors. And when Steph Curry doesn't even come to Toronto, and these people have their tickets already for this, like from before, they're disappointed. So they want to encourage all the players to be up there and available if they can play, because it's like people pay their money to see the best product. And that's the other thing, is like we got to assess, is the product of the NBA good right now? Like, do people want to watch the games? Are they entertaining? Well, I really felt like this season was very entertaining, that like the playoffs were really good and entertaining. That final series was fantastic. And that during the season, most games were very fun to watch. Like the Raptor season was so fun for us as Raptor fans that we were dying for it to start again. We can't wait for Raptors to start again in the fall. That's a good sign that the product is good, that people are already having withdrawals just a month into the off season. That's fantastic. Stuff like that. Jimmy Pope saying, crazy to see Jaylen Brown outshine Tatum in the finals. I wonder what we do this offseason. Would love to see Jakob Poeltl back in Toronto. Would be cheaper too. Yeah, I would love to see Jakob back here too. But San Antonio really covets him, and they're going to keep him however they can. He's like Popovich's favorite. So yeah, I don't see Pirtle coming here. Unfortunately, that would be a really great move for us, and I love it. And yeah, Jaylen Brown's just better than Tatum in my eyes. I'm in the Brown camp and not in the Tatum camp and stuff like that. So let's see. Tom Duke saying Pirtle to replace Thad, role as the respected vet. Pirtle to replace Cam is what it would be. Is that this man would be like borderline starting. Like, in fact, I'd love to start him up next to our guys as a regular starter, possibly Pirtle, if we got him again. That he needs to be a starter. That he is such a good solid center, and he's that mobile center we need. But this is a pipe dream. I don't think there's any way we'll get Pirtle anytime soon. But we'll see in a couple of years. Who knows? But I don't think we'll get him this year or this offseason. So let's see. G saying Scotty will yell for OG to get more calls. Laugh out loud. Yeah, Scotty will be his proxy yeller on the side. He's like, when he gets hit. It's almost like they're the twins from Cobra and G.I. Joe, Tomax and Zaymont. Like one feels the other's pain. Like somebody hits OG and then Scotty's yelling at the other end. Something weird like that. That'd be hilarious. Shane saying, I got a soft spot for Jack at Tom, but for Yak. But that is too valuable in that locker room. Yak can't replace that. That is good value on contract. Yak will cost too much. Hate saying that. I don't know. We'll see. I mean, look what Tom just wrote. Thad wants almost 20 million. That's way too much for him. Like I say, let him walk. Thaddeus is good, but he's getting paid a lot. He got paid like 16 million last season. We don't want to put that much money towards him. Honestly, if we can get him under 10 million for one season this season, I'll do that. But I don't want to pay him more than 10 million for this season coming up. That it's just that we don't know when that cliff's going to happen with him, where he just falls right off. Like, he's 33. It could be that he has another 2 or 3 good years. It could be that he only has one good year. It could be he only has half of a good year left. So we don't know. We got to look out. G's saying he does. Well, if we're thinking about like what he made this year, and if he wants to make more, yeah, he wants around 20 million for 1 year, which I know is absolutely crazy. And maybe he needs to like figure it out and like get it more realistic for his demand or what he can actually provide at this point. But I don't know, Tom, if you're actually telling us something he said, or is this something you saw, or you're just projecting that you think that's how much he'll want because of what he got paid this year. Tom's saying he won't take less this year. Okay, well then we can let him walk. We can let him walk. He's not that essential to us for next season. He did a really good job at the end of the season and helping us with our playoff run. But honestly, no, we got to get Chris back. And Thad it's okay, whatever happens with Thad. This is not essential for this summer, is Thaddeus Young. So Shane saying, really, that's too much. Pardon my ignorance, way too much. Messiah's all over it, just guessing, of course. Yeah, I wouldn't worry about this. If that's how much Thad wants, then let's pass. Let's just let him walk. If somebody else will pay him that much, good for him. Stuff like that. That's what I'll look at with that. So yeah, the entertainment value of the league. Do you guys feel like it was entertaining to watch this season? I know maybe that my channel being added in this year maybe added an extra little bit of entertainment to watch me and also watch the games. But just in general, I found the games very exciting. I think it's exciting to have a young rookie like Scotty on our team that brings a new enthusiasm, and then it passes on to the fans also. That like him being on the team really made the Raptors product a very exciting thing, because we're like, we don't know what he's going to do next. And Precious along the same lines. Like the Raptors were kind of like this, like we said, Kinder Egg every night. We didn't know what kind of toy or Kinder Egg we were going to open up and get. Sometimes it'd be an amazing thing that was so awesome and beautiful to watch. So I really feel like the product of the NBA is really strong and solid. I think that they're growing and getting more interest in watching it again. That maybe there was a downturn where people were turned off from the NBA and they went away from it. But now maybe they're coming back in, especially with the big finals with the Warriors and the Celtics. That maybe the numbers were good and they got some people back into watching basketball. That'd be really good. Tom Duke saying, I'm guessing he's making his own Jake Fisher news. Okay. Well, you're sickening, Tom. You are sickening. That's all I will say. All right. MK saying, have you seen Jubstown's new video? No, I haven't watched it yet. I saw that he just dropped another new one. It was about the draft pick, right? It's about who he wants to pick at 33. So yeah, I'll watch that probably this afternoon. I just think I've been really busy with family being in town, but thanks for bringing it up, MK. And always watch Greg and the Jubstown Clink. Good stuff coming out on the regular, at least once or twice a week. Let's see. Shane's saying Chris is a priority. Yeah, completely agree with this. Number one priority. Forget about the draft pick. Forget about the free agents that possibly we could get. Chris Boucher is our priority. He's the one thing I care about the most this summer. G saying Tom is about to have fans attack that on IG. Yeah, Tom, don't be at Fox News here. You don't need to be going out there and putting out info that is not correct, Tom. Come on now. You're better than that. You're not Jake from State Farm. Come on. Jimmy Pope saying Scotty definitely brought a much needed dose of hope in the franchise. Yeah, I think we had hope already and we were already moving in the right direction, but he's definitely an infusion of like, wow, this guy is some real deal good stuff and stuff like that. And guys, he was on again yesterday on Twitch. We can talk about Scotty real quick. He was playing COD, Call of Duty, and it was in the afternoon. It was around like 2 or 3 in the afternoon. He only played for an hour. He was, once again, he's kind of frustrated. You can tell. I don't know if he's happy right now. Like he seems like he's happier during the season. Like I think he's a little bored right now. And he told a really sad story yesterday, which was really informing. Like this is the reason why y'all should be watching me, is because I don't give you the really inside stuff. Well, Scotty, at one point yesterday when he's playing video games, somebody started talking about like uh, uh, EBT and things like that, and like food stamps and stuff like that. And he turned around and he said, y'all, I was on food stamps and I was on that program when I was a kid. And I know what that life is like, to be that level of, not having things and needing help and being in a family with a single mom who, and he talked about getting that card every month that they got for their food. And that one time he took the card when they got it before his mom got to see it. And he took it to the grocery store and he bought a bunch of snacks and a lot of different things with the card. He was so proud. He's little. He's like a little kid. And he got all these snacks and he's walking home with the snacks that he bought on their food card that they get to help them out each month. And his mother caught him on the way home walking with all these snacks. And he's like, look, Mom, I got the card and I went and got food for us. And she got so mad at him. She smacked him upside the head and he fell. He said he fell on the ground from her hitting him so hard. that this is a story that Scotty told us yesterday about his childhood. That yeah, and this is the thing, you got to realize that, listen, there's the haves and have nots in this world, and that Scotty comes from a place of have not, just like Chris Boucher. And this may be part of the reason why these guys have bonded so strong, is because they've gone through really dark, tough times in their younger childhood and stuff like that. So that was really my eye opening. It was sad to hear. And yeah, that informed me more about the trials and tribulations of Scotty had as a kid growing up in Palm Beach in Florida. That, they were moving around a lot. His parents did not get along, and that, yeah, his mom hit him for buying the food on the card, and he was telling about that yesterday. And I was, "Ew, that's tough. That sucks." He got a little mad at me at one point because somebody was saying, "Hey, Scotty, are you in Toronto? Are you in Toronto?" in the chat, and I was trying to help him, like I said, be an information guy, but I don't think he wanted people to know where he was. So I said, "He's in Florida." And then he saw my comment. He said, "Raptor Freak, how do you know I'm in Florida?" And he got a little standoffish. He's like, "How do you know I'm in Florida?" Well, part of it is because, Scotty, I've been watching your Twitches, and you said you were in Florida when you were in that background. Like when we see Michael Jordan on the wall in a frame and some trophies on a dresser, that to me is Florida, where your bedroom is, because that's where you said you were before. And it's not that I'm like weird, like I'm in your life and saying, "Oh, I know where he is," just because I know because of where you're sitting in your bedroom. And I saw Boston's hotel curtain. I've seen what it looks like when you're playing in Toronto. And I know what it looks like when you're playing in Florida. I didn't mean to freak him out either. And then at the end of the stream, he said, "I'm going somewhere else now, guys. And you guys you'll find out soon enough." It's like, so he's leaving Florida to go somewhere next. And I'm not sure where it's going to be. It could be that he's going somewhere for the draft. Maybe he's going to be around the draft, during the draft. Maybe he's coming back to Toronto and he's going to be here working out and stuff like that. So I hope I didn't upset him by saying that. But it's apparent to me that he's in Florida. I just said, it's like, "Oh, he's in Florida." He's like, "I didn't tell y'all I was in Florida," and got upset. I felt bad. I still feel a little bad about it because I don't want to do anything that pisses Scotty off. Seriously. And it's not the way I want to make him upset. So I think it's a couple of things. I think it could be that he's going to the draft. He's going to be there publicly like he was for the finals. Or I think that he's coming to Toronto because he's getting a place that we may be seeing on Instagram or something like that, him getting an apartment or some place that he's getting here in Toronto for him to stay in and live in. It may be a house. It could be a condo. It could be something like that. So I don't know. It was very interesting. He said this right at the end of his stream. He says, "I'm going somewhere else next, guys, this summer, and you'll see soon enough where I am soon." Okay. So yeah, let's see. All right, let me see. Let me get back on the topic here. The topic. Um, Tom saying Jubbs is a human crystal ball. He's the great Criscom level for his predictions. He called Scotty. Hey, Greg's good. Greg is astute and he does know his stuff. I enjoy his stuff. I wish I could produce stuff like he does. Like we have strengths. I have a strength. He has a strength. And yeah, production's not one of them for me. I can go live and go off the cuff and just talk like this all day, but I'm not very good at putting together clips and having all the inlays and having little funny things going on my screen with me. Rank Scrub saying Thad money is better spent trying for Nurkic or better center. I still take a Plumlee as a center option if he shakes available. That's really interesting what happened with Kenny Atkinson. That he changed his mind. He was going to go coach Charlotte, and he said, "Nah, you know what? I'm good. I'm going to stay here in Golden State as an assistant coach." And like that was very interesting. Like maybe because Charlotte is a dumpster fire. Like their players are kind of like wilding out and a little crazy right now in different ways. He's like, "Yeah, I don't want to do this. I'm in a good place. I just won a ring here with Steve Kerr and stuff like that." But very interesting to like kind of go back on becoming a head coach for a team and like publicly saying, "Yeah, I'll take the job," and then like for a couple days later saying, "Nah, I'm not going to take the job. Sorry." That was really weird. But yeah, Plumlee made me think of that because it's like he was on Charlotte, right? So yeah, I don't know about those options. I'm really big on Bamba still. If we're going to go for a kind of a free agency guy with the MLE, with the mid level, and not really big on a Plumlee. I don't like Plumlee. I just hate the guy in different ways. I think he's a goon, and like he has such a limited game in so many different ways. MK saying, I think his pick is perfect. That player reminds me of that. Oh, he's talking about I forget who it was mentioning it earlier. Who was talking about it? It was Shane Waters talking about, no, it wasn't Shane. It was Rank Scrub. Somebody's talking about whoever it was, the 6'8" long arm monster guy. Let's see. Tom Duke saying Trevion Williams is Jubb's pick. He also likes Jalen Williams. Okay. So he likes guys named Williams. We'll have to see. I want a center, but really I do. At 33, at that point, I want a center. I want a project. I want somebody over 7 foot tall because we haven't drafted anybody over 7 foot tall or near 7 foot tall since Jonas Valanciunas, and that was in like 2012. So we need to draft another center this year because the center field is really good this year. That's really where I'm at with this. If it's not like a super excellent badass shooter, those are the only two things I want to draft this year. I don't really want another long arm monster because, like, I feel like we have enough of them right now that we may need more offensive scorer or just a rim protector. Let's see. Tom Duke's saying, so pumped to see what the front office does, signing new and old players. Yeah, me too. At Rank Scrub, I have liked Nurkic as an option since I found out he was a free agent. I agree with that on a 1 year deal. He will complement the team well. Well, you know what I'm hearing now, that they want to keep Nurkic in Portland. They didn't at the beginning of the postseason, but now it's kind of like Portland's changing in different things. They're trying to become a have. Like they were going to go on seller's market and sell all their guys, but I think they're changing their mind and that they want to go out and buy and bring guys in and try and keep Dame Lillard happy. So I don't know if Nurkic is as available as he used to be. I think that Portland's going to tie him back up and keep him in house, even though he's a free agent, because it sounds like they want to keep as much as they can in some ways, or something like that. Hornets players seem toxic. Gee, did you get that from that Miles Bridges social media a couple weeks ago? Yeah, I think so. LaMelo, they were playing some Michael Myers game or something, like where you have to run down the hall and the other person's coming behind you and you have to get the door open and get into it. It was really weird. I was watching it. Tom Duke saying, gee, so true. They were all in with that Ball brother mentality. Well, he's the leader. He sets the tone. To me, LaMelo Ball's fundamentally not that good. Like he's kind of loose, he's kind of crazy, he's a little street ballish and stuff like that. That's not necessarily the guy you want to set the tone for your team. Montrezl Harrell and Miles Bridges are doing kind of showing the tone of the team this offseason. That's what I'll say. Oh my gosh. All right, let me keep going with my list here. All right, the NBA with its fairness, like we know that in some ways it's not fair, whether it's the way the media treats the Toronto Raptors, whether it's the referees and stuff like that. But do we feel like, this is still something we can overcome and that the league is overall a mainly fair league? Like, even for all my griping and complaining this whole season, the Raptors' record was really good. And we were able to win a lot of games this year, a lot more than most experts thought. So it's like the league, in some ways, is actually working really well and is a fair league. I really do believe that I feel like, there are instances where the referees will manipulate at the end of games to help a team win or something like that. But overall, teams win the amount they're supposed to win, unless they're getting propped up a little bit like the Celtics would. But like for the most part, maybe there were 1 or 2 games this season that we lost that maybe we should have won because the refs a little bit. But for the most part, I feel like the league is overall pretty fair. That's even me with all this stuff, like talking about Scott Foster, talking about like ref manipulation and different things like that. I think that they're trying, that they really are trying, and that the fairness in the league is something that they really want to get across and is make sure that we understand they're trying and that they're being as fair as they can. They're human, that they do make mistakes and stuff like that. So, I'm not too upset with the league and their fairness at this point. It's actually been better for the Raptors in the last couple of years since we won the championship than it was before, with getting bad calls and stuff like that. So let's see. Let's talk about the Raptors in general about this past season. How do we feel about their place in the league? I feel like they're in a positive place. They're going towards good things, that they're going to be a powerhouse in the East for years to come from right now, and that the state of the Raptors address for the end of the season is very good. that we have a lot of young players that have the potential to grow into superstardom, and that we have great veterans that will continue to lead and do really well and get better in veteran ways also. Like Pascal and Fred are going to get really good next year. And I like the stability this offseason. Like we were having much more answers than questions right now. There's a lot of questions on other teams with their offseason right now that they have to answer. And we have most of our questions answered already. And we haven't even done the draft. And that's awesome. That's really good. That's a sign of stability and everybody being on the same page and knowing what the ultimate goal is together as a collective, the NBA championship, the next one for Toronto and stuff like that. So, yeah, Tom says it. We are in great shape for the near future. I agree with this. He's saying, what time frame are things going to happen? Signings like CB and Thad, will it all just not transpire till the draft? Yeah, the draft's first. So we'll do the draft. And then, like, free agency is always around the 1st of July. So it's going to be in, like, the next 2 weeks. We'll find out more about Chris Boucher near the beginning of July, maybe just after the draft. I'm not sure exactly when the dates are for sure, but free agency will open up. I think it is the 1st of July. That's normally what it is. G saying, I was debating with some people in regards to Fred's contract. Raps only have the 18th highest payroll in the league. With Bird's rights money should not be an issue for this team. Yeah. Listen, scarcity and money is tough in this world, and it's everyday life. So when they see something like what's happening with Fred and the possibility of him getting that much money, they feel like there's not enough. That everybody has a scarcity mindset about it. We need to stop doing that. G is just giving us a good stat that we're 18th highest in payroll in the league. There's other teams that are paying way, way more. In fact, think about the value we get per win by what we're paying our players. Let's pay a little bit more. Let's give them what they deserve and realize that this will not hurt different things. This is the problem. Everybody thinks Fred's going to take away a piece of the pie away from other people that they want along for longer time, like Scotty. And that it's just not the case, y'all. Just stop saying that and stuff like that. Yeah. So, yeah. And Tom's saying, preach, brother. Yeah, to G. Yeah, it's good. It's a really good thing to point out. Like, where are we on the salary cap and how much we spend as a team? We're not close to other teams like the Lakers, Brooklyn, Golden State. These teams pay a lot every year, and that's how they keep these guys. G saying Pelicans pay more before even signing Zion to a max. Wolves and Pacers pay more too. See, that's what I'm saying. That's why they had to blow up the Pacers, because they're paying them all this money and they ain't doing nothing. See, that's the thing. Is like we're building, and we should be able to pay our guys that we have in house more and more. We want to keep Fred like the Golden State wants to keep Steph, and that this is just a little bit of a repeat of yesterday and what we're talking about. So, all right, let's talk about real quick. We'll talk about the future of the NBA. Now, this past NBA season, we saw a really amazing rookie class. And if the rookie class that we saw, including our big four, Scotty Barnes and Cade Cunningham, Evan Mobley, Giddey, Wagner, all these different great young rookies, the future of the NBA is in good hands. Not only with guys like Luka Doncic and these great young emerging superstars, but this rookie class really showed that the future of the NBA has good players. And some of these players are throwbacks like Scotty, that they hearken to an older era of the NBA. The one over my shoulder with all the champions, finals champions and MVPs from 1970 to something to like just before we won the championship. They got the last Golden State championship. They don't have our thing up there. Those are all the finals MVP on that poster behind me. But yeah, the league has a little bit more of an old school feel when you have a player like Scotty Barnes out there who plays like an old school player. And that in some ways, with the physicality at the beginning of the season, the league felt like old school, like 80s and 90s NBA basketball, because the fouls were called differently in certain ways. So I think the future of the NBA is very bright. That I think that interest in the people, there'll be growth. Maybe there'll be more interest in with people like Kai Soto, different areas of the world will get more and more interest. There'll be more money. I know they lost money in China because of different things, but the NBA is growing and it's still doing really well. The state of the NBA overall for the future is really good. So I really, really like that. All right, let's see what you guys are saying. It seems like you guys are going crazy. So Tom Duke's saying so many Fred haters are just OT believers. What's he gotta do? Listen, some people don't like Fred because he frustrates them. Like they don't like failing, and they've seen Fred has been that one of those guys who's put it on the line and failed at times for us, and that's just because he has the guts to be that guy to try and make it or fail. And he's been that guy who's made it also. It's come with both. And Kyle and DeMar, Pascal, they've all gotten the same grief for being in failing moments. And that's part of the reason why there's hate for Fred is that these people want everybody to be perfect. Well, they're going to be success and failure. And it's just the failure can sting, and this that shapes their opinion about things. So I don't like it. I don't like the way they talk about Fred. They have short memories. They don't understand what all he does for us. He does so much for us. Steph, Clay, Green, and 2022 to 2023 salaries are higher than the entire Raptors roster, whom are on contract already. That's crazy, G. That is so crazy that only three guys on that team have more money than the whole team of the Raptors. There, see, this is the thing. If this team can do this, if Golden State can do this with their salary cap and keep a really good core that wins championships, why can't we? Why can't we? Is what I'm going to say. Tom Duke saying Golden State will also now have to pay guys like Gary Payton II. Well, they got to make tough decisions with the young guys. It's kind of like that's the way they do it. They keep their core champion four guys and other guys around them, like maybe Jordan Poole, Andrew Wiggins, but then the other guys around them kind of they recycle the young guys to be different role players to help them. Although Looney's stuck around too for a long time too. So it is crazy. It's absolutely crazy what they pay and what we don't, and why Raptor fans just need to shut up and let us pay some money and keep them all. Wiggins' contract's coming up too. And they've all said publicly in the last couple of days they all want to come back. Wiggins wants to stay a Warrior. They're all very happy to be on the Golden State Warriors. So Shane Waters is saying luxury tax shouldn't even be allowed, in my opinion. It should be called a salary suggestion, not a salary cap. I like that, a salary suggestion. Maybe that is something we can improve the NBA with. It's just the semantics or wording of things. Like, yeah, it's a salary suggestion instead of luxury tax. I like it. And there's Tom's Rebus, emoticon Raptor Rebus. He's got a money hungry person with money flying away and a bunch of bags. He's got like 5 bags there for each of the Raptors to come get when they need to get their money. G saying that's why some of our fans need to calm down in regards to paying our players. For sure. For sure. It's just ignorance. Like some people just don't know. I don't pay attention to money stuff. I don't like paying attention to money stuff. So a lot of this I'm ignorant too. So just imagine how the common, just ordinary, not crazy, freaking out, watching everything about the Raptors like me is thinking about it. They think that it just doesn't make sense. Why would you invest so much in this guy? Well, pay him for what he's done and just for his, also his leadership and what he's going to do in the future too. Let's see, Shane. Money seems to be such a factor in winning, almost like comparing little corner stores to big box stores. Yeah, that's a good analogy, Tom Duke. That is true. That like you got to spend to win, and that this is one of the secrets to these big franchises in sports, like the Yankees, for winning, is that their payroll has always been super high, and that they've been able to afford more than small market teams. That small market teams just can't afford the budget like the Yankees can year after year. And that this is true, that like there is a difference in kind of markets and what teams spend on salary and what they can get away with depending on that. Like the Lakers and the Nets, they spent so much money on salary and they still fail. It's crazy. Shane saying Raps are the perfect counter to small ball like the Warriors. That is Masai's vision with versatile 6'8" players. Yes. Yes, so true. I like it. Yeah, I think positionless is good counter to the small ball. That you really can make some mismatches if people are going to play small ball against us playing big for sure. Lolita saying Masai and the Raptors management are good in balancing the books, and they also spend the dollars when needed. Spend to win. That's right. It's really kind of different modes. Like either you're in are we in a compete mode to really go for it? Then we go and spend more. Or are we going to try and do a cost saving year like we did this year in some ways? Like the reason why we cut Sam Decker and did a couple of things at the beginning of the year was to get underneath the luxury tax, the salary cap stuff, so that we would be getting paid money from the luxury tax instead of paying into the luxury tax. It's like that's how they figured it out. Half the teams have to pay and half the teams don't if they don't go over it. They actually get money in return. So we figured that out and we did that financially this year. It was just a little bonus that we were able to have such a successful year, run things a certain way, and still financially do what we did with staying under that threshold with our salary cap was really smart and really good management for sure, Lolita. I agree with that. Let's see, what else do we want to talk about? How did you guys feel about the new trophies this season? Like they came out with this, their Bill Russell trophy, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar trophy, Larry Bird trophy, Magic Johnson trophy, Oscar Robertson trophy. They have all these trophies now for like different divisions and different, conference championships and stuff like that. They seem like they had more individual trophies too, like the Hustle Award, and along with the Defensive Player of the Award that Marcus Smart got and stuff like that. It seems like there's a lot of awards, and I like that they're getting named after a lot of different players and stuff like that. So I'm not really upset about this. I think it would be nice if we had gotten an Eastern Conference MVP Finals award for Kawhi Leonard in 2019. That Larry Bird trophy should have gone to him at that point. I don't know if is there an Eastern Conference MVP award that there has been over the years, or is this something they just started this year? So I don't know. It's very interesting. Tom Duke's saying perhaps it is the owners. It is MLSE that are really making this direction we are headed. Well, technically, Bobby Webster has said that Larry Tannenbaum is not hindering financially. Like he's ready to spend. So the purse strings are not closed. He will open it all up and start giving them money to go do what they want to do. It's kind of like that's not who's deciding it. It's really the team, the general managers, Masai and Bobby, and kind of when to go and when not to go, red light, green light with the salary and salary cap and going over it. And I think they will probably in the next few years if we're really competing at a high level and we're near the finals every single year or winning championships, then go right ahead and spend as you need to. Rank Scrub saying strong forward play in the interior mid-range opens up more opportunities to rotate and hunt shots on the perimeter. Need to work on high post presence and making shots in mid-range wings, bank shots. Yeah, I like Scotty for this. Like if we can get him to do more of those great bank shots in the mid range, the low post, stuff like that. And I agree, this is a basic fundamental like offensive scheming here. You get good interior opens up the outside, and vice versa. The outside will open up the inside. All this kind of stuff is really good. We want our guys to get more open shots off of the talent and the threat of each other on the court. That this is really going to be a big thing that'll help our offense is that if they're worried about Pascal and somebody's hedging to double team him, what that guy lays off Gary just a little bit gives him daylight. Then Gary needs to get the ball and shoot it. Stuff like that. That's what I'm talking about. That we have so many good players, they're going to feel like they want to double different guys at different times. We just have to read the court and take what they give us. And there will be opportunities. They just got to get more astute and more better at executing on those. It's like if you get an open path to the basket, go forward, take it there. Ken Birch or any other player on the Raptors. Don't give up what they give you because they're giving us opportunities, and not all of them were taken last year. There were opportunities that were left on the table that we could have gone and taken from the other teams. Shane saying individual awards don't really matter in a team sport to me. All about the Larry O.B. Yes, Shane. And this is the philosophy that the Raptors really share themselves. Like Big Roy was something that Scotty wanted. He wanted that Rookie of the Year, and he got it. That was a goal he wanted, and that was good. But in some ways, that wasn't super important. That it really is all about just getting the next championship. And then none of these guys really care about all that other stuff. All NBA, it comes. All-star appearance, it comes. That's great. But we don't count on that, and we don't live and die by it. This is not the end all be all for them. It's team goals, team winning, and team stuff that we want instead. Let's see. Shane saying, I'm interested to see the stats on how many open shots we had compared to the rest of the league last season. We had to be close to the top. We did have a lot of missed opportunities. Yeah, that's a part of the thing. Like we would get good shots where we missed a lot of them. Like our shooting was really bad this year on the down low for being so good that, it's like the law of averages. Like I was saying with Svi, if he could just come back next season and get all the shots that he should have made last season, this season instead, with the ones for this season also, the man's going to shoot the lights out. So maybe on the whole, as a team, we missed a lot of open shots last season that this year they'll start going in and we'll have better luck with that because we had really bad dry spells where we didn't make shots for periods of time, and that it needs to go away. And then maybe things will be better this season. Yeah, did we miss more free throws than most teams? I don't know if we missed more. I don't think we got as many, and that we did pretty good making our free throws. It wasn't too bad at the line this year. We had our stretches where it looked ugly, but for the most part, we had really good free throw shooting. I think we were like a 70%, 75% free throw shooting team at least. We weren't that low. We had some really, really good free throw shooters, and we had other guys that weren't so good, like, that need to work on their free throws. But I thought as a team overall, we did pretty good with our free throws and stuff like that. Yeah. Let's see. Seemed like it at times. Okay. Yeah. I'm just going to wrap things up right around an hour right now. I talked a little bit about the Scotty Twitch yesterday and stuff like that. Gary's with his buddies, running around. I think he's in Columbus, having a good time there with his good friends and stuff like that. Let's see. Yeah, only Precious missed a ridiculous amount. Yeah, Precious was really bad at the line. Delano wasn't too good at the line either, but he didn't have to shoot that many. And Yuta was the worst free throw shooter for the Raptors this year. Like, he could have shot way better. Not that he shot a lot of free throws, but his were really bad at times too. But overall, most of the core guys shoot good free throws. Even Scotty. Scotty's a good free throw shooter already as a rookie. So Lolita's saying owners also love to win and win it willing to spend. They trust Masai to give us the next Larry O'Brien, so money is not a problem. I can't wait for the next parade. Thanks for the show. Go Raptors. Yes, Lolita. That is all music to my ears. And this is true. Larry is willing to open up the purse strings to get the next Larry. Larry T, he likes Larry OB, and he wants more Larry OBs in Toronto. So Larry T will spend the money. Trust me. G saying, just looked it up. We were 22nd in free throws. Not that good. Okay, we weren't that good. That is an area where we could do better. We shoot better free throws. We shoot better from the field. Boom. All of a sudden, these are huge improvements on a core and a team that has room to improve and is already their floor for where they are as far as how good they are as the fifth seed in the NBA East is like, all right, improve your shooting, improve your free throw shooting, and boom, all of a sudden, that's like easy improvement right there. Shane saying, have a great day, Freak Fam. Happy birthday. Happy Daddy Day to all the people with kids. Yeah, happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there and stuff like that. I just want to end up this stream real quick to say thank you to Adam Silver. Listen, I give you a lot of grief. I give you a lot of crap on my channel here and different things and stuff like that. But I honestly think you're doing a great job. That these past couple years, being the NBA commissioner had to be really hard. That there was a pandemic and one of your teams had to go play in another country, in another state. And you've held everything together pretty good. That this ship has been sailing through really rough, choppy seas in the last couple of years. That with the COVID outbreaks and the different ways you've held down the league and kept it going with hardly any postponements, really keeping it going good. I have to give you a lot of credit, Adam Silver, that I appreciate you and that I am glad that you are the commissioner of the NBA in a lot of ways because you have done a really good job. I think that David Stern would be very proud of Adam Silver and the job he's done since he left. And I give him a lot of knocks and he bugs me and he's annoying in different ways. But listen, other other commissioners of leagues and sports may have faltered and made some big mistakes in the recent years with everything that's happened and different things, whether it's the things about the pandemic or it is things with the social justice and political things like Black Lives Matter. You did a good job, Adam Silver. You've done a great job, and I appreciate you. I want you to know that. I want the NBA to know that I appreciate the job that the commissioner's doing. And that this has not been easy, and I can tell, and that's really good, and that you kept it together, and the league is strong, and I feel like it's moving in the right direction. And we get more and more away from the individual offensive play, where it's just kind of prima donna, individual isolating stuff, the LeBron and Kevin Durant era of superstar friends teams and stuff like that, and get more back to what made basketball really great. It's team play, playing together, sticking with your team, parity, where the league has a lot of different teams that are competing to be the best. And, other teams, nations, all nations believe in their team, that they have a chance to win and that they spend money and they come to games and support their team. that is all very healthy and important for the league. And that is what I'm talking about. So, yeah, I got to give kudos when I got to give kudos. I cannot diss the man. He said he's been successful. I think this year was a very successful NBA year, not only just for the Raptors, but for the whole league in general, and that we are moving in the right direction. And then, there's some things that they got to fine tune and figure out. Maybe the calls and stuff like that. The challenge stuff is new and interesting and needs to be figured out a little bit more too, and stuff like that. But we're going in the right direction. I'm very happy with the NBA in general. I'm excited about next season. And hopefully with Raptors, we'll get to the finals and win another championship next year. 2023 NBA champion, Toronto Raptors. That's what I want to hear. Oh, yeah. All right, let's see. Adam Silver is the NBA's daddy, steady and dependable. I don't like that term for him, but anyway. Tom Duke saying, Happy Father's Day. Love your pops today. If you're able to, cheers, Lex, and let's go, Raptor Freak Nation. Yes, yes. Thank you, Tom. And Shane saying, Silver's speech before giving us the Larry O.B. was epic. Yeah, he's done some really good things. He may look like a Sith Lord from Star Wars, but he is a good, nice man, and he is trying to make the league better and do better and better as time goes. Stop giving us a Canada discount. Put us on blast a little bit down south and treat Scotty Barnes like a golden boy because he's your rookie of the year, and he's also going to be a future superstar in this league, Adam Silver. So don't slight the Raptors. Put us on an even playing field with everybody, especially the Boston Celtics. All right, y'all. Have a great Sunday. Happy Father's Day. Appreciate all y'all. And I'll be back tomorrow with a Monday memory. It'll be from this past season. I'm not sure which game. I'll go look it up and I'll post it in a little while. But thanks again to everybody joining me on a Sunday morning on Father's Day. And I hope everybody has a great afternoon. And I'll see y'all tomorrow. Let's go Raptors. Woo, 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 woo.